안녕하세요. 오늘도 운동하기 전에 택배 언박싱을 하겠습니다. 오늘 제가 받은 거는 펠킨 폼 롤러. 제 열혈 시청자님께서 저에게 폼 롤러를 선물로 주셨습니다. 일단 박스를 뜯겠습니다. 멜킨. 제 이거 푸시업 바도 멜킨인데 폼롤러도 멜킨이에요. 저쪽 방에 가면은 턱걸이가 있는데 그것도 멜킨입니다. 소름. 이 아령은 멜킨이 아닙니다. 이거는 하도 옛날에 사서 뭔지 모르겠어요. 일단 택배를 뜯겠습니다. 항상 택배를 뜯을 때는 주소 택을 꼭 뜯은 다음에 분리수거를. 오늘은 오후 근무인데 회식을 하고 와가지고 너무 졸립니다. 그래도 새벽인데 잠을 안 자고 지금 언박싱과 운동을 하기 위해 아주 그냥 디자인이 와우. 여기 보시면 이렇게 로고가 써있고 검은색이네요. 남자는 블랙이죠. TV나 이런 데서만 보다가 이렇게 직접 생겼네요. 여기 보시면 설명서가 있습니다. 제가 거북목이 약간 있어서 견갑골 스트레칭 요거를 할 때 주로 쓰도록 하겠습니다. 설명서에 계신 분이 몸매가 좋으시네. 잘 쓰겠습니다. 폼롤러. 이 택배 근데 비닐 하나 더 있는데 이게 스트레칭 밴드인가? 그것도 같이 온다 그랬었는데 이 재질이 뭐죠? 이 고무? 이 특유의 이 냄새가 납니다. 냄새가 빠지려면 좀 걸리겠죠? 아하. 스트레칭 밴드입니다. 옐로우 1단계. 길어. 잘 쓰도록 하겠습니다. 일단 이걸로 스트레칭을
expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, or however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions through a superb combination of technology and human touch. For easy, fast, and secure banking that
오,
creates
대박.
real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands.
오, 이거 짱이네.
Technology, service, Zenith Bank in your best interest.
오.
Hanoi is a city of 1,000 years of history. The gateway for the rest of Vietnam.
나 왜 이렇게 아프지?
The heart of Vietnam.
오씨.
Sunday, David Axelrod is in Iowa.
Iowa or bust.
Talking with candidates about the country's first critical contest of the Democratic primaries.
Iowa, Iowa, Iowa.
The Axe Files, Sunday on CNN.
The Rwandan fashion industry is young and booming. From fashion meets art to bespoke menswear, accessories, and haute couture fused with traditional design.
My vision as a designer is to be a well-recognized international fashion brand as Motions, and then to still have the roots from my culture.
Moses Turahirwa is a pioneer in the Rwandan fashion industry.
오.
His label Motions is one of the country's top brands.
오.
Motions is now a medical brand, a fashion brand. So now after
Oosh.
becoming of a need of fashion in Rwanda, Motions is basically related to the cultural and the heritage of Rwanda.
Oh.
The inspiration from the cultural items, motifs, and techniques of tailoring. That's what we adopt to bring everything to the modernity and then contemporary style.
오.
Like many of his colleagues, Moses is an advocate for the hashtag Made in Rwanda social media campaign. Together with designers like Cedric Mizero, they are promoting Rwanda through fashion.
Rwanda is the heart of Africa, and for me, it's a very special because through the history, that we've been through, it's an amazing country. We always put Rwanda in my work.
Both of these designers' journeys started at Kigali Fashion Week.
I participated in Kigali Fashion Week when I launched my first collection in 2015. After participating in a fashion show, I got a lot of attention from different people. That's when I started
이게 대박이네.
getting invitations from different fashion platforms, even out of the country, because they saw my collection.
In its 10th edition, Kigali Fashion Week continues to provide a space for emerging designers who hope to follow in the footsteps of Moses and Cedric, and also have their brands represent hashtag Made in Rwanda.
It's where you can show your talent. For me, I believe in people. I believe in talent. So I think Kigali Fashion what created for us, like for myself, it was just to be able people to know that there's talent in me. After my last collection, Kigali Fashion Week, that's how everyone was like, all eyes was on me.
It's not just a showcase for designers, but models too. Paneza Linka Amanda is one of East Africa's top models, and this is the 5th time she is participating in Kigali Fashion Week.
Modeling is my career and my passion. So when I'm in fashion industry, I'm doing my job. I feel that I'm in my place.
She has seen significant growth in the
대박.
local fashion industry since starting her career 7 years ago.
From where we started
그만두고
and
운동해.
where we are now, it's really, really good. First of all, we didn't used to wear for international designers.
시원해.
It was just local, and now we use 4 or 5 international. So it's very really, really nice.
Backstage is buzzing as the designers from Rwanda and beyond stand by to hit the runway.
This evening you're going to see something transitioning from corporate summer to corporate winter. As a plus size myself, I find it difficult to find the clothes I want to put on to work or casually. So I tend to go to that line, so I feel like I was solving a need that I already had.
Among them is newcomer Sakina Usengimana. Up until recently, Sakina was a full-time student. This is her first ever fashion show, and she hopes that the exposure she gains here will allow her to carve a career out of jewelry design.
Jewelry design is that it's a real piece that means a lot to people. When you give a gift to someone like a jewelry, it's something that they cannot put in at home. They always wear it and always think about you. So it's something I feel like I'm so much connected, and I wish like I can present women, African women, also design.
Sakina plans to use fashion as a tool to empower other women. Working from her home in Kigali with an all-female team of artisans, they handmade every piece that was displayed at Kigali Fashion Week.
I have 4 women I work with. Most of them, they didn't finish school, so the only thing they do, they are artists. So when I look at them, they don't have much opportunity. I feel like I have to keep going and make sure I can grow and give opportunity to many women.
This vision is shared by the female-led team at Uzuri K&Y, who believe that Rwanda has the potential to lead the continent in fashion.
I really think that the energy or the spirit of togetherness is what excites me more about this whole fashion industry. And also being able to look at a product from afar and say, I can recognize this. This is made in Rwanda. I think that the rest of Africa can learn from us. You can rise from the ashes.
Young, talented, sustainable, eco-friendly, community-focused, and proudly Rwandan. This industry is one to watch.
The future of Rwandan industry, it's ours, and I feel like we get into the stage where we have very powerful brands that are made in Rwanda.
Inside Africa,
진짜 너무
in association
힘이 아니야.
with Zenith Bank.
Traveling is not just about seeing places with the most likes or getting iconic photos. It's about finding the city's DNA, meeting people who share its secrets. It's about making
대박 쇼.
that wow you and make you feel like a child again. It's a world of wonder. Now go and see it. Saturday on CNN in association with Turkish Airlines.
Our plan will end the EPA.
What does it really mean for the water, for the air that we breathe, for the health of our families? Whose health is at stake? Everybody's health.
CNN special report, A Toxic Tale, Saturday on CNN. Welcome to the lead. I'm Jake Tapper. We're going to begin with the politics lead, and one of the biggest bombshells today.
The straight talk you need.
That seems to be, to me, completely contradicting.
From your man in Washington.
It's all food for thought when you, in the public, are trying to decide who to trust.
Who won't back down?
We're getting a new look at the headwinds that congressional Republicans already are facing. A monumental day in our politics.
The Lead with Jake Tapper. Tuesday through Saturday on CNN.
digging into the archives and looking back at some of our favorite interviews from this year. So here's what's coming up. Taking the fight for Medicare into their own hands, Congresswomen Pramila Jayapal and Debbie Dingell tell me why the time is now for universal health care in America. And Game of Thrones actress Lena Headey takes on a new challenge, the fragile mental health of refugees. Plus, on being John DeLorean and Donald Trump, Walter Isaacson talks to actor and comedian Alec Baldwin. Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Christiana Wanpour in London. How should America care for its sick? The question has plagued the nation nearly since its inception. President John Adams was the first to sign a public health law in 1798 during a yellow fever epidemic in Philadelphia. President Franklin Roosevelt tried to include national health insurance in his Social Security bill, but it never saw the light of day. President Johnson got Medicare for the elderly and Medicaid for the poor. Presidents Carter and Clinton both tried to get universal health care and failed. President Obama did make massive strides with reforms to pre-existing conditions and putting kids on their parents' insurance, but universal affordable care has remained elusive. Left and right agree that the system is broken. Americans pay more for worse outcomes than anywhere in the Western world. So now is the time for boldness, say Democrats. Medicare for all has become the rallying cry of legislators and almost all Democratic presidential candidates. Not so fast, say small government Republicans. For answers, we turn to Pramila Jayapal, lead sponsor of a new Medicare for All bill, and Debbie Dingell. Dingell has made universal care her life's work, something she shared with her recently deceased husband, John, who was the longest-serving congressman in American history. They join me from Capitol Hill's Statuary Hall. Congresswomen, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much. Glad to be here.
Well, this is such an important issue, and on the theme that we're busy exploring of big topics and big reforms, your Medicare for All pretty much ticks that box. Just explain to us, both of you, what exactly are you proposing? I mean, Medicare already exists, and Obamacare exists.
Yes, so what we are proposing, and I'm just so thrilled to have such a long-term champion co-leading this effort with me and 105 of our colleagues in the House that are original co-sponsors. We propose that healthcare should be available for everybody. No copays, no deductibles, no premiums. You can go see the doctor or the hospital of your choice. In fact, more choice than is available now. And the only thing that really changed is we pay for it through a government insurance program. And we cut out the waste and we contain the costs. So for the first time, you'll be able to get vision, dental, mental health, substance abuse, and long-term supports and services.
You make it sound very attractive and very doable, and you talk about 105, supporters and co-sponsors. I wonder whether any of those are Republicans. But what happens when they start saying, well, hang on, that's all well and good, but this is going to cost the nation an arm and a leg, so to speak. It's just going to be too expensive.
So let's start with the fact I believe that every person's got a right to quality, affordable health care. And right now, we've got a very broken, fragmented system that doesn't work. And the bulk of the cost, we're the most expensive of any country in the world. We are the most expensive country in terms of delivering health care to Americans. And so what we do is we save money, as we're also the only industrialized nation in the world. This is an economic issue, as well as an issue that nobody should have to worry about whether they can afford to go to a doctor, because we're competing in a global marketplace. Yet every other industrialized nation that we're competing with, my background was auto industry at one point, is competing against countries where the cost of healthcare isn't passed on to the private employer. So, but by going to a single payer system, we're going to eliminate a lot of waste, and we're going to let doctors, we're going to get rid of bureaucracy, we're going to get rid of paper, we're going to let doctors and nurses go back to taking care of the patient, and we will save a significant amount of money just in streamlining and making that process more efficient.
So, I mean, I'm speaking to you from London, and here we have a National Health Service, which speaks for itself. It's about what you're basically suggesting. And it's incomprehensible for many in the rest of the democratic world and basically the developed world that the United States doesn't have a universal healthcare system such as the one you're describing. And it is, just to remind, you said the US spends about twice what other high-income nations do on healthcare, but it has the lowest life expectancy, the highest infant mortality rate, and this life expectancy directly tied to the high level of people without health insurance coverage. So these figures are, in fact, staggering. But for some reason, your nation has grappled with this from the beginning of time, from the beginning of the New Deal. There just doesn't seem the political will to push this ball over the line.
Well, I think that's true, but I think that things have really changed, and we are deeply committed to having a conversation across this country about the cost of healthcare today. As you said, the estimates are we'll be at $50 trillion in 10 years for the existing system. So our plan would make this cheaper for everybody. It would save money for the economy, it would save money for American families, but most of all, we would cut out the waste in a system that frankly has been geared around profits instead of patient care. We have got to contain those costs, and we've got to take on the industries that perhaps don't want this to change because it's doing pretty well for them. In the end, our responsibility is to the American people, and I think this is true in red districts, in blue districts, in independent districts, that people are ready for Congress to take this on. I have people who are Republican small business owners in my district, and they come up to me and say, I might disagree with you on a whole bunch of other issues, but get this done. We can't afford to pay for health care for our employees anymore. We would be happy to pay into a government insurance program if we could contain the costs and if we could ensure that health care was taken care of so that we really could do the work that we're supposed to do with small businesses and, as Debbie said, retain our competitiveness. Political will has changed, and I think our work is to continue to organize around the country and make sure that people are speaking up about the real things they are facing at the kitchen table every day.
So again, we remember when Hillary Clinton tried to take this on, and then President Obama, and it was really hard to get it across. And then we've had 10 years of the Republicans trying to kill, quote-unquote, Obamacare. We see how popular it has been, certainly in the midterm elections, to keep that hard-won health care. So I am interested to know, Congresswoman Dingell, because your late husband, really this was his life's work as well, to create Medicare, Medicaid, to be there at the origin and to keep protecting it as well. Do you think the politics, as Representative Jayapal just said, have actually changed on this?
So, here's the reality. The reality is it's actually my father-in-law that introduced the first national health care insurance bill in this country in the early 40s. If you want to bring about real change, we'd like to see it quickly. I'd like to see it today. But you have to work together and build that coalition and get people to understand. People in this country fought Social Security and Medicare, and now trying to take it away, and they're going to scream. Medicare was the first bill that passed as a result of that initial bill. It took 20 years. And then we got the Children's Health Insurance Program. I think you saw in the last 2 years, when the Affordable Care Bill passed, there were many things that people were